Hi everybody, my name is Jim and this is the Lake Effect Gardener. I've got a bit of a mishmash of things to show you today, and I'm not going to say this is kind of a short video because it definitely isn't. It is a glorious, glorious day today. Highs are supposed to be close to 80 degrees, but it's early right now. It's early morning. It's about 7:45, 8 o'clock in the morning, and I wake up with the sun. I wake up before the sun, usually, but the sun is in abundance today, and I just took a little walk through my garden and just to see things starting to wake up. It's such a pleasant sight to see. Such a sight to behold. From here on out, everything's just going to start exploding. So today's video, I'm going to be heading into the Polytunnel because I need to get some seeds going now. And there's a couple of other things that I also want to plant on. I'm going to talk quickly about a cost-saving idea when it comes to planting seeds. So that's to come. I'm also going to be talking about the remnants of my old Polytunnel. For those who are new to the channel, welcome. Please consider subscribing. I had a Polytunnel that, well, I have a new Polytunnel. I just built it. There's videos on it. Please go check it out. But I had a tunnel before that. Last year I built one, the exact same model and everything. And after a windstorm, it bit the dust. So I kind of left it in a gnarly mess behind the new tunnel, and I just thought to myself, okay, I need to get that taken care of. Otherwise, you know, the grass and the brambles and everything else is going to grow, and then it'll disappear, and I'll never see it again. So I got stuck in taking it all apart, and I was pleasantly surprised at how many pieces were still, like, good. They still had their shape. The parts that were bent into submission were actually the smaller joints that would fit inside the other parts. So when I finally took it all apart, I had quite a bit of like decent shaped unbent pieces. So the brain started going again. What on earth can I do with these things? I want to upcycle them. I'm not gonna, just put them at the curb. So I came up with some really interesting ideas, and that's what also is going to be on this video. So without further ado, friends, let's head into the Polytunnel and get some seeds into the soil. It's interesting how I approach sowing seeds, because it's probably nothing original, to tell you the truth, but I don't particularly, I try not to buy, we'll just put it that way, I try not to buy potting mix, not potting mix, seed starting mix. I try not to purchase seed starting mix. Now, people may have different philosophies about this, but in my experience, planting seeds requires a medium that doesn't require a lot of nutrition. Okay, so if you go and you buy yourself a seed starting mix, you've got a lot of material in it that's, you know, nutrient deficient almost. So like your coconut coir, if someone, you know, prefers starting seeds with peat, you know, these are things that don't have a lot of nutrition in them. There's a lot of vermiculite in them to aid with draining and everything. But again, no nutrition. So what I like to do, and I think I may have mentioned this in my very first seed sowing video, I don't know when it was, last year, I like to use spent potting mix, spent compost, things that have been used for you know, a whole growing season and then are kind of left to their own devices. So what I have here as a perfect example, last year this was, you can see all the dead foliage on it. This was originally a petunia basket. Okay, so I put this pot inside of a basket, and there was some lovely purple trailing petunias on it. So those have since they're annuals, they have died. So, you know, what I'm left with is all this scraggliness and spent compost. So what I like to do, I'm just going to rip all this out, get it cleaned up. What I like to do with this is use it for seed starting. Okay, I've got a little bit in here from another pot. So I just tip it in to a larger container. The thing I love about this is that it's been outside, so it's really moist. I don't really have to do anything to it in the way of watering. So I do have some dry compost in here already, spent compost. But it breaks down into this really, really nice, you know, nutrition deficient, that's fun to say, nutrition deficient seed starting compost. Okay. So I'm just going to mix this up a bit. And there are, you know, the cursory old roots and stuff like that. Not a big deal. It really isn't. I have never had any problems using this. And honestly, it's free. It's free. I mean, it isn't free. You pay for it initially when you first get it, but you get a second use out of it. Okay? You know, there are other things that you can do with this. You could actually add fertilizers to it to make it, you know, a nutrient-dense medium again. That's fine too. It works out great. Absolutely. But this is perfect this time of year when I'm spending money on infrastructure and, you know, different things, to have this free medium just sitting on my back patio waiting for me to use it. Okay. So this is all nice and mixed up. So today I'm going to be planting a couple of things. Oof. All right, so I have my tray here ready to go. And this is a propagating tray. Okay, similar to the one that I used when I sowed my peppers and my eggplant. And I've got, let's see, 8 of these smaller cells, and each cell has 6 cells. Okay, so I'm thinking early crops today. So I've got with me from my seed tin greens, root veg, brassicas, and lettuce / spinach. Okay, so these will be good. It's still early. The polytunnel does get pretty warm. This is where they're going to stay. Okay, polytunnel does get relatively warm during the day, but at night it's still really cool. Okay, we haven't, even though it's going to be 80 degrees, which is like, I don't know, like 22, 25 degrees Celsius, even though it's really, really warm today, it will cool off when the skies are clear at night and there's a breeze coming off of Lake Erie, which Lake Erie is like currently, I don't know, 35 degrees. So the breeze that comes off the lake is still really, really kind of cold. Okay, I definitely bundle up. So these cooler weather crops are going to do well in here for the time being. Would I start tomatoes and keep them in here? Absolutely not. Okay, those need constant heat to do well. So perhaps, you know, if I get around to doing the tomatoes today, I might. If not, I'll do them another day. But if I get those started, what I'll do is I'll put them in this little propagation tray. I've got lots of them, and I will put it in my greenhouse with the heat on. Okay, because those types of things need the heat. All right, almost done here. Got one more. And it's really nice. There's still a lot of vermiculite in here. So, you know, the drainage is going to be really, really good. Okay. I'm just going to tamp these down a bit. Okay. And I think what I'm going to do is the earliest thing that I can... Okay, these have got to go in these shorts have got to go in the wash anyways. The thing that can go out into the garden the earliest will probably be my lettuce and spinach. So that's what I'm going to sow first. And this packet is just packed to the gills. What do we got here? What do I got? Oh yeah, I'm going to do some butter crunch. There is some arugula in here. We'll do that. We'll do that. Okay. I think I'm just going to stick with lettuce for this first sowing. All right, so the varieties that I'm going to be planting are going to be butter crunch, rouge de vert, all year round, and the romaine variety called Vivian. Okay, before I do that, I'm going to make my labels because I always forget to do that. And I have this is old school. I picked this up. I don't know where I got it, I can't remember, but craft sticks. They are popsicle sticks, essentially. A huge box of them. And I did get these secondhand, and what I loved, I loved about it, and only my local Buffalo viewers will understand this, maybe other people in surrounding areas, but I'm looking at the price tag. Not only was this $5 way back in the day, but it was purchased at a store, and the tag says P&P. Most people would not know what that means, but to us Buffalonians, that means pleasures and pastimes, which was kind of like a craft store. It was a wonderful craft store. They closed a long time ago, but I used to love going in there, especially during Christmas time, and they'd have all the displays and stuff like that, and I would go in there with my Aunt Jo, and you know, we'd pick out yarn and stuff like that for knitting, and it was just really, really great store. Okay, butter. Rouge. All year round. Vivian. The one that we had here locally, the Pleasures and Pastime store that we had here locally, wasn't terribly big. They had one over in a few towns, that was a few towns over, that had 2 floors. Ooh, that was such a big deal. Okay, so I'm going to be doing 12 cells of each variety. And am I going to do one seed per cell? No, I'm going to kind of treat this a little bit like a seed tray. I'm going to do, you know, maybe 3 or 4 in each cell. Okay, I don't want to go absolutely crazy because lettuce is one of those crops that once it takes hold, it goes fast. Okay, and the idea is, now for the Vivian, it is a romaine, so I could treat that as a whatchamacallit, a cut and come again. But the other ones are really kind of head lettuce varieties. So you really, I suppose you could cut and come again for those, but it's going to be one of those things where you might want to just harvest the whole kit and caboodle. Okay. You know what? I'm just going to do it this way. Of course, if I have way too many that I could possibly, you know, take care of myself, I will definitely give some of these plants to friends and family. Family first, and then friends. And they will enjoy it. So when they sprout, as soon as they get their first set of true leaves, of course, I will pick them out and I will pot them on if need be. I don't know, this is a very unusual spring for us, but it's really warm and really dry. I'm actually wearing sandals today and not my wellies. The yard has dried out. Unbelievable. Okay, I've got my varieties planted, sown I should say, and I will go ahead and just give them a little bit of a top dressing just to cover those seeds up. So yeah, easy, cost-effective way for seed starting compost. Just use what you got, okay? It doesn't need nutrients. Eventually it will, but for now, it doesn't. I see a lot of Facebook posts on different pages and whatnot that, you know, these pictures that people post of these extremely leggy plants. And, you know, they're part of it, okay, part of it has to do with the, you know, the light that these plants are getting, okay? So say you're growing stuff on your windowsill, or you're growing it in a, like I have my peppers and eggplant in a area of your house where you can, you know, do grow lights and stuff like that. The light is really important, okay? Obviously, you want a really, really sunny windowsill, or you want to have the fluorescent lights or grow lights at the right height, you know what I mean? But I also find too that if you use really nutrient-dense seed starting compost, that those seedlings, once they pop, become really vigorous. They want to grow really, really big, really, really fast. And I have a feeling that's got a lot to do with, you know, the amount of nutrients in your soil. So you just want to get them established, you want to get them going, and that's it. The other thing I'm going to be doing now is I've got a couple of things that I want to plant on now. I've got bags and boxes over here of tubers and shrubs and things like that, okay? So I've got a lilac shrub here, and I've got a dahlia. This dahlia is called Zingaro. This is a completely different animal, okay? When you have rootstock and you have things like tubers and bulbs and stuff like that, you want them to have the nutrients right away. And I will be using, for my lilac, of course, I've got a glut of these. If you saw a video a couple of videos ago. Now for this, I'm going to be using potting compost, okay? Has the drainage, but it also has the nutrients that these plants need in order to get established. Okay, so I'm going to open up my dahlia here, and this variety is called Zingaro. I really like the color. You know, I'm a little envious of my British friends. Just gonna quickly inspect this here. There's supposed to be 5 in here. I'm a little envious of my British friends because when they go to their garden center, I feel like they've got a lot more in the way of, you know, varieties to, you know, when it comes to dahlias, okay? We say dahlias here in America, but I've really just adopted as much as, you know, all the British pronunciations of things. It's hilarious. Anyways, you guys, I feel like you guys have a lot more in the way of variety in the shops when it comes to plants like this. We don't. We get these, like, you know, these bog standard boring varieties like dinner plate and stuff like that. Anyways, any type of you know, dahlia that we want, specialty plants, we have to order online, it seems, or, you know, go to specialty stores for it. We couldn't go into a normal garden center and expect to find them. So this has already started sprouting. I probably should have shown you. Okay, I don't know if you can see that. It's already sprouted. So this dahlia is going to get its own pot. Okay, got a few more in here. What did it say? It said, oh, it's 2 bulbs for $5. I thought it was 5 bulbs for $2. Okay, so I did get my 2. Fine, I'll plant the other one up a little bit later. Okay, I'm gonna take another one of these. And this time I'm going to be potting up this lilac. Now, I could put this directly into the ground if I wanted to. However, we are still in danger of frost here until mid-May. It may be really dry and things may have dried out ground-wise in the garden, but it's still too early, I feel, to plant in anything in the way of bare roots or trees and things like that. I just worry about them drowning back here. I've had such horrible, horrible luck with that. Okay. Ooh, this one's ready. Look at the roots. Okay. And lilacs, I try to plant every single year, and I buy the rootstock and I put it in the ground and then it dies. And I think that has a lot to do with the fact that, you know, when you get this bare root stock, it's got to go in. It's got to go in. You've got to make sure that, you know, it's in the ground when it starts to leaf out. I'm just teasing the roots here a little bit because they are a little pot bound. We want to encourage the roots to go outwards, not continue spinning about. Okay. So yeah, I've had absolutely no luck with lilacs, and I love them. I really, really do. Okay, this could use a little bit more compost. This variety, oh, good grief. I couldn't get just like a normal variety. Let's see. Krasavitsa Moskvy. Go ahead, you take your try at it. But I love the color. That's why I didn't even look at the the name of it. I just threw it in the shopping cart or trolley if you're British. Okay. So, planting this in. Now I'm going to keep this in the pot for a while. I might even just keep it in for the whole season. I might, if things start to go really, really well and this thing starts shooting up, I might transfer it to a bigger pot and keep it on the patio until the fall, and then I'll plant it in maybe September or so that, you know, it has time to get established. Speaking of getting established, I need to get established in getting all of these done. Okay, got lots of seeds to sow. I'm not going to make you sit through that. Oh, one important thing. Now I will give these a water. And then, come on! There we go. Yay, propagator lid goes right on top, just like that. I'm gonna get stuck in on this, and I'm not gonna show you because I wanna listen to some music. Darn you, copyright laws, because you know that I would be having it pumping right here next to me. Let's see, I think the music du jour is going to be some ABBA. I was going through some YouTube videos last night, and you know, when you fall into that rabbit hole of YouTube videos, they give you those recommendations, and it just popped up where they were doing, there was a recommendation on, I don't know, I think it was out of the UK. They did a documentary on them. So I got sucked in, of course. So I think that's what I'm going to be listening to, and I'm going to get on with all of this. I'm going to bring you back out to the garden, though. There's some other things that I want to show you, and another upcycle win for the Lake Effect gardener. I'm over here at these new 2 beds that I made, that I planted the apple trees in, my compost beds, as I'm going to affectionately call them. And I'm just kind of going through and making sure that I get a lot of, oh good grief, a lot of the, you know, random little fibrous roots and stuff. I want to get those out because I finally, yesterday, made the sojourn, and I got my strawberries. So the variety that I'm going to plant in here is called Sparkle, and I had mentioned to you in a few videos ago that this is a variety that my grandfather grew, and not the grandfather that lived here, my father's father. He grew them, and my father also has grown them in the past. And I actually, yesterday after picking them up, went over to my parents' house, and I gave some to my dad because there's 25 plants per bundle, okay? And I definitely am not going to be able to fit 25 plants inside of this bed. So I'm going to plant as many as I can in this bed. Whatever I don't have planted in, I will probably pot up and maybe have them hanging in the tunnel. So when you receive them, you've got to make sure that they are well watered. Okay, I watered these over yesterday, so I can feel the moisture on there. I also threw them in the refrigerator because I knew that I wasn't going to get them in the ground right away. But you've got, you know, this rootstock that comes out, okay, looking like crazy hair, and then you have the top, which you can see where the leaves are. So simple enough. You're just going to dig yourself a hole. Okay, I'm gonna put these in deep, and this is a nice tall raised bed, so don't worry about that. Okay, and then just oops, I missed one root. Get in there. There we go. Okay, so I'm gonna just do a couple here. I'm planting them about, oh, I don't know, 8 to 10 inches apart. Strawberry plants don't last forever, okay? So strawberry plants are really easy to propagate by the runners that they send out. So I want to give this, you know, the strawberry plants enough room to spread out. If they decide to send out runners, then I can pot those on and have brand new plants. And then eventually what will happen is, you know, over the years when they start not producing as many berries, have the lot out, and you'll have, you know, from the runners that you get, you'll have a whole brand new stock of strawberry plants. These are June bearing. I don't know if I'll be getting any berries off of them. Berries, I don't know if you'll be getting any berries off of them. If I do, great. I'll be very happy to enjoy them. But for, you know, if not, no big deal. I'll enjoy them next year. So I haven't quite finished this yet, but I used all of the straight and not too destroyed pieces of the old polytunnel for my melon trellis. Now, this is going to be, not melon, I'm sorry. I've got the transatlantic melon challenge on the brain. This is for my squash. So this is going to be Burgess butternut and what was the other one I was going to do here? Oh, spaghetti squash. So I created this trellis, very similar to what I would do for beans, for climbing beans. And I used the remains of the polytunnel to create this. So it's super durable. And then I had some of this livestock fencing just laying around, so I'm using that. I'm going to put it up all the way to the top, and then I'm going to do it down here as well. I just didn't get to it, but I'm really happy with this. Instead of doing the TPs, I really like this setup better because I'll be able to grow something in between. So something like a cool weather crop, spinach, maybe lettuce, something like that. So when the melons grow up, and hopefully they will do so willingly, if not, I'll have to train them, of course. They'll be well sheltered in between. So I'm really pleased with this. This is a really good use of what was left of my polytunnel, and it's a really super strong structure. So I could potentially leave this, and I don't necessarily have to grow squash on this every year. I could perhaps do beans one year on either side. I could also do cucumbers in another year. So there's the, you know, the possibility of having a rotational crop going on in this particular bed. I tell you what, I'm probably going to end up having to leave this up because it's so massive, and I just don't want to disturb it, to tell you the truth. So yeah, I'm really pleased with this. Really good use of what was left over. And it took me, I think it took me the same amount of time to take the screws out of, you know, each of the pieces. It did, you know, when I was initially building it, it took me a long time, but the end result is very pleasing. I'll finish the trellising on there, or the wire mesh netting on it, and then we'll be good to go. It'll be good to plant in. There'll be plenty of room for my sunflowers too, so that's gonna be gorgeous. So, as you can see, I have all of the curved parts of the old polytunnel, okay? So the actual hoop portion of them. And again, I was racking my brain, what can I use those for? So I thought to myself, this would be a great way to create a smaller kind of a hoop situation. Okay, bear with me. I'm going to show you what I'm going to do here. So on each end of these hoop portions, there are the holes. You know, this is where, you know, the screw would go through to attach, you know, another piece of the tunnel. Okay, perfect. I have these stakes that I use to I put them around my beds so that I can put up chicken wire and things like that to keep the critters out. I have a lot of them, so this is not going to be a big deal, you know, when it comes to the use of them. But if I put, let me see if I can do this. If I put a stake at each end, okay, I don't know if I can get this in the shot or not. I've got kind of a bit of a low tunnel situation happening here. So what does that mean? That means that I can put this over a crop that, you know, needs protection, like my brassicas, or, you know, if I need to put a fleece over in case of cold weather or something like that. Perfect for that. Perfect for that. And all I did was I took a deck screw, okay. It's a bit fiddly here, so took a deck screw, screwed the end into place, okay, and then I did the same thing on the other side. Okay, and I'm just showing you this as a matter of just showing you what I'll probably end up doing is put those little, I still have a bunch of those neoprene washers from when I was making the big tunnel. So I'll probably do that. Let's try that again. Totally missed the mark. Totally missed the mark. It is a bit fiddly, but whatever. Here we go. So yeah, I'm going to show you. I did one last night actually, so I'm gonna put this up next to the other one and show you what they would look like in the garden. See what I mean? Wow. I mean, they're really tall. I'm probably gonna, I would probably sink them in the ground a little bit lower, but this idea of being able to, throw a fleece over it or throw some kind of netting over it to protect crops. And I mean, I've got several of them. I've got 2, 4, 6, 8 more. So I could do 4 in this bed and I could do like 4 in another bed. It's thrilling. Yay, upcycle win. All in a day's work. I've got to use this time off from school to get as much done as I possibly can. There will be more seed sowing that's going to be happening. I won't have you sit through that. I will show you the progress that will be made, however. And I have a few more infrastructure things that need to be taken care of. The next big project for me, I think, is going to be, I want to create those cattle panel trellises that I'm going to be growing up, and there's going to be 2 new kind of cattle panel tunnels that will be going up. So I'm going to show you what that is going to be like, and I've never done it before, so it's going to be the learning curve. It might be funny, who knows? I might get completely frustrated. So I want to take care of that. I'm going to have to get a load of compost in to top off my beds. Things are full speed ahead here. And if the weather keeps doing this, I'm gonna have things ready to go so soon. I'm really, really excited. Thanks so much for watching, everybody. If you're new to the channel, again, welcome. Please consider subscribing, hit the notification bell, and leave your comments, please. And I will be hopefully also giving you an update on the Transatlantic Melon Challenge. Yes, I'm doing a bit of reading on Facebook through the hashtag and through Instagram, people having problems with germination and things like that. And don't despair, okay? They do take a minute to pop from the soil, okay? However, I did chit those in the bags, if you watched that video. If you haven't, okay, maybe you should. And those popped in 3 days. So that's it for me, guys. Thanks so much for tuning in. I will see you all very soon with some brand new content. Enjoy the beautiful weather. So long.